Hey, welcome to Lab Sessions episode 4, talking all about social media. I'm Jake and I'm here with Jade.
Hey.
And Jay. Hi. Hey guys, how you doing? To kick off, I have some quick fire questions. Right. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
What is your most used social media platform, Jade?
Instagram, 100%.
Jay?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn?
Yeah, no,
interesting.
I'm old, guys, I'm old.
I thought we'd all be
Stop firing
Instagram.
shots.
I'm Instagram. All right, do you prefer video content or photo content, Jade?
Oh, at the moment, video, but it used to be photo, I would say.
Oh, photos, that's dry. Video content, 100%. That's all I consume.
Okay.
Yeah.
But posting? Different.
Oh, different.
No.
Posting photos.
Yeah.
Watching
You like
videos.
posting videos?
No, I like posting videos. You know what I mean? You want to see what's going on in life. You know what
I'm photo. Last one. How many times, roughly, do you check your social media, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok?
A day.
A day.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe like 8, 9?
Tell the truth.
Oh,
man.
okay.
You're
No,
lying.
I was trying to go
You're
low.
lying.
I would say like 15 to 20 times a
Wow.
day.
Okay.
I went
So
low.
Jade
I
has
lowballed.
issues. No jokes.
I think you'd be
then-
surprised. It's more, you click on it and you're like, why am I on it? And then you click back off.
Yeah, for real. Of
And
course.
especially when you're doing it, like, I guess professionally in a sense, you get consumed.
Yeah,
Cool,
true.
I get it. It's your business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is. It's her
Quit
business.
checking on
It's
your
her business.
business.
All right, I'll take that back.
Jay, less, more?
LinkedIn, yeah, probably not too dissimilar. Probably like 10 times a day, I'd say. I'm on there all the time. But again, it's for business. You know what I mean? It's how I make my money. So.
All right, a couple of stats for you. What % of teenagers do you think use social media?
Oh,
Closest wins.
Yeah, Jade, as our expert.
I'd say 76%.
76%.
Wow, that's mad specific. Maybe 85, I would say.
97%.
Boom!
apparently.
Jade, I'm so much
Can't give you my sources other than Google, but 97%.
I love that.
Actually higher than I thought.
It is. And last little stat. Most popular social media for young people?
TikTok.
Instagram. YouTube.
Snapchat.
Damn,
What?
so close.
TikTok, believe it or not, 18 to 24-year-olds is the main
Yeah.
audience at the moment for TikTok. Yeah, but to get into it, I think it'd be cool for us to chat. Social media, we use it for business, personal use, all that sort of stuff. We know there's like challenges with it, whether that's the negative comments kind of culture or it's easy to compare yourself. What do you think? What are some of the challenges and maybe experiences that you guys have had or things that you know of when it comes to social media?
Yeah, I would 100% echo that, the comparison, negative comments. I'd also say, this element of it's still kind of unknown and we're still figuring it out and we're sharing these elements of our lives that we don't know how they're going to come, back to us in the future, and a lot of young people don't know how it's going to affect their future careers, their goals, whatever. And I think that's something that we don't really think about in the moment when you're posting a lot and sharing a lot, and that can really, affect things that you do, or careers you want to go into or whatever. And so that's an element that I kind of really started to hound to people that I was talking to who are slightly younger. You want to share these things and you want to be really open, but you just don't know what's going to come from it in the future, if it affects job opportunities, if it affects how you, what work you get into and things you want to do in the future. And I think that's something that's not touched on as much. But there's also the things we do know, which is negative comments, comparison. You're constantly comparing yourself to people, seeing this highlight reel as we talk about of people's lives, and that's really, really difficult to deal with, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have a super addictive personality, so I try and I delete Instagram off my phone during the week because I know if I have it on my phone, I'm gonna have to go on it just because of how my personality type is. But one thing I'm seeing, especially with the Gen Z community that we work with, is for them they're very good at compartmentalizing social media because their big challenge was they watched us as millennials. I say us, me as a millennial. They watched our generation. The way we use social media, we put everything out there and then we struggle to get it back.
Yeah.
So they've watched us do that. So you'll see they'll have a fake Instagram and then they'll have a personal private one and then they'll have the one that's like out there for the world to see type thing. And I think they're already, because it's so nuanced, the way you use social media for them, it's kind of actually, I can use this the way I want to use it and I don't let it use me. And I think with millennials, we made that mistake. We all signed up, gave all of our data, and then we just tried to remove it. But they've seen that and kind of like dealt with that in a different way, which I think is really, really interesting.
Yeah, wow. And is it so are they using I'm going to use a fake Snapchat, a real Instagram, do this on are they compartmentalizing by accounts? Or
yeah, definitely. Yeah, so
platforms?
you'll find a lot of like similar to like Discord or Reddit or network and platforms like that. You'll see them. They'll have their own. On there, they'll use like fake names and things like that. And they're similar on TikTok. But then on Instagram, they'll have the private Instagram, which is like for family and friends. And I've got some members of our community that actually use that account to come out to their family and things like that. But on their public account, you can't actually see any of that. So on their public account, it's almost like the highlight reels, but things that they don't mind the world knowing, but the things that they actually want to keep private, they keep private for themselves. So they've actually got almost so many different faces. I think one of the big challenges is how then do you manage all those different accounts? Because you've got like, okay, my public, private, where do I post this? How do I, that's a lot of things to think about. When you think, I just take a photo and I'm like, yeah, bang it on there and I'll see it again next week and see what people thought. But with those guys, they have to think about those things so much more, which is quite interesting.
Have you ever posted anything that you're like, I need to take that back quick?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think even just, like writing captions and being, there's a level of vulnerability that I share, but there's also things that you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. And then you kind of go and edit the caption and be like, 1,000 people have already read this, or and you're like, is there any point of me taking that back, But
right.
I think that's how you learn is essentially, I've learned over time of doing, being on social media and using it as a business. I've definitely had to change my stance on social media as I became a business, as I became more of a content creator working with brands and, collaborating with platforms. And so I think I've definitely made mistakes in that sense of, using it in a way that I maybe shouldn't have and having to pull it back, but you learn over time and we're all learning about that and it changes every day. Social media is changing so quick that it's hard to even keep up with sometimes.
And it's crazy what's that. I've definitely been through Facebook sometimes and been like, I need to untie myself from that. Because things change, you change, you're like, I don't want to be associated with that anymore. Anyone can look up, you can Google yourself and then photos will probably be the ones that pop up, do you know what I mean?
Stress. And that's the thing, I think it's, with going back to what you said a second ago with the posting, I do a lot of times. So 90% of the time, I will post something on social media, not on LinkedIn. Normally on LinkedIn, I'm quite like thorough about before I post it. But with Instagram, I'll post it, and I would say 98% of the posts I post and delete within seconds. Because I post it, and my common thought is all the time is I don't care about this, so no one else is gonna give that. Why am I gonna bother posting? It's like I actually don't care. Because sometimes I post it, I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling myself. It's a good photo. I post it, and I'm like, actually no, I don't give them, and I have to pull it off. And I think most of the time, if I'm using social media on the weekends, I'm more of like a voyeur. I'm just like seeing what everyone else is up to, do it for a day, and then get off it. And I find that way, then my photos are more just for myself. So if I take a photo of family or friends or whatever, I just keep it to myself. I don't really bother posting it, if I'm honest. But
And how different do you think social media and real life? I think we're very of the age of like they're quite different. I need a social media break. When it comes to young people, do they need social media breaks? Is it just that's part of life now? I go home, chat to friends on Snapchat. What is that?
I definitely think it's, they've grown up in an era where, when I was growing up, we just started to use Facebook and, we'd go out or whatever and post, we'd have cameras with us and then upload those photos and that was kind of all you did. And now it's instantly uploaded to the social media platform. People are using it all the time. And I think young people are growing up with social media. They're getting iPads at such a young age and iPhones at such a young age, which we didn't have. We were still using flip phones, that you text. And I think we have to, as people mentoring young people, understand that this is not going to go away. It's going to be a part of their life. They're going to be growing up on these platforms. And how do we deal with young people on these platforms? And also the platforms have changed. There are 16, 17-year-olds who are on salaries now because they're content creators and they are doing legitimate things on social media. They're posting videos, they're creating content, they're making these videos that I could never make, and they're on salaries and have management and they're kind of mini celebrities at such a young age. And we, a celebrity back in the day was a singer or an actress or, and now these are young people who are business owners essentially at 16 years old, and you never really saw that before unless they were a child star or something like that. And I think that's something we really have to understand is there are young people these days that are like by 17, they've got a lot together and they might not know really what they're getting themselves into, but they are business owners. And that's something that we would have never seen before. And I think we have to understand that this is a big part of their life and it creates these business opportunities for them that we might have never had.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. I think I kind of hearken it to when like with sports athletes, with footballers, because when I was in school, a lot of the lads played football. A lot of them now they're at Palace or whatever. They're playing like really, really high level. But when we were in school, nobody really knew what you were getting into if you signed for a club. It's kind of like, oh, they're going to pay me a little bit, and you almost go down this track. And then by the time you start to realise that it's a business and it's not just about kicking ball with my mates, it's too late because you're already in it, and they've already got you to sign a contract, and then you get injured and they just drop you like it's nothing. And you don't really realise. And that's why a lot of footballers, they just fall off and disappear. And I think social media is quite similar at this point in time, where like Jade was saying, for a lot of them, it's kind of like we're just figuring it out. And the worst thing is the parents don't know. So how can a 16, 17 year old when the parents don't really understand it? So it's kind of like, oh cool, you're a TikTok star. And a lot of times the parents are like, oh cool, that's cute. And then suddenly it's like, oh wait, you got paid 100 grand to do what?
Yeah.
And then it's saying, oh okay, cool, this is now business. So the parents jump in and try and manage the kids. Parents don't know really what they're doing. They don't understand. They're like, you need to create more content. Yeah. And it becomes that pressure side of it. But a lot of our community will come to me and like, okay, what's your future role? I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be this. I want to be that. I want to be a Twitch star. All of these things they're just normal careers to them now. This is I'm just going to go off and do that. So I think it's going to be a challenge for them to deal with it in the future for sure.
100%.
Yeah, because I read the word influencer got added to the dictionary in 2019. So like mad recent. Yeah. Whereas now that's becoming more and more normal. Like I want to be an influencer on YouTube or TikTok, whatever. But what is it for? I was chatting to a young person that spoke about WhatsApp, and they were like, "WhatsApp? You use WhatsApp? Like that's for old people now."
Yeah, it's mad.
So like,
it's mad.
I'm struggling to keep up, and I'm 29. But I just think if I'm like a older person, 29 plus, and I want to help young people, especially when it comes to social media stuff and how they manage themselves on there, or almost championing it in a way, how do I do that? Do I have to keep up with the latest trends, or like how do I can't even keep up. How do we keep up these days? How do you help young people in that space when we don't know what's going on?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult because I even find myself as a content creator, I started on Instagram and I know Instagram and I know it well and I've studied it and I know the algorithm, I know how it works. And for example, we were saying earlier, I jumped onto TikTok and I was like, I do not understand this. Yeah. And even in myself as a content creator, I still feel like I'm not able to keep up, So for people who maybe aren't content creators and aren't involved, it's going to be 10 times harder because I even just understand social media in itself as a business. And I think what we do have to start doing is, we have to be talking to young people, ask questions. We shouldn't be, ashamed to ask them and be like, hey, I know you're on this thing called TikTok. Can you just tell me a bit about it and tell me how it works and let me into your world so I can kind of get a bigger picture of why we're also engaged in it, why you guys are using it all the time. What is Snapchat about? Why is it so engaging? And I think as we ask those questions, they might give you an answer that you never expected and be like, well, I'm really into cooking and I watch this guy and all my For You page is cookers and people who cook and people who, bakers and all this, all those kind of things. And you'll be like, I never looked at it as that. I just thought people were dancing on TikTok, and they might say, my For You page is full of chefs. And that's what I want to do, and that's why I'm on it all the time. And so I think the more we ask questions, the more we engage with them and ask them, why are you so engaged to these apps? We can really find out a lot about what they are and what they're using them for. Yeah,
for sure. I think the key is just really allowing them to be themselves. I think a lot of the time we'll come in and, like Jade is saying, we'll kind of put our own, especially from a fear perspective as adults, we'll be like, okay, this was my experience on social media, so this will be yours. And it's not exactly like everybody's story is different. So I think you have to allow people to go, okay, this is my current experience. And this is what I'm going through, and this is how I use social media, like Jade is saying, and then actually just almost give them a path, but just ask the simple questions, but allow them to make mistakes. I think a lot of the time we don't allow people to make mistakes because out of fear of them. Because we go, well, I made the mistakes, I don't want to make the same. And I think you just have to allow them to make those mistakes as they're going along the journey. Because I try to do this, my son's 14 years old, and all the time I get super nervous about who he's following, all this kind of stuff. And I had to just get to a point where I was like, you know what? Let me just be here. Let me just be present, and every once in a while, probably once a quarter. I don't know why I said once a quarter. That's terrible. Typical business. But every once a quarter, I'll just check in about, all right, cool. Is there anything you want to talk about? What's happening? Is anything happening? Is anything anybody said to you on social media? And just do that check-in. So there's no there's no pressure. Because a lot of times, there's nothing. But sometimes he'll go, actually, yeah, you know what? This happened, that happened, and can we talk about it? And then it's been no judgment. All right, cool, tell me what happened. That's how you felt. That's okay, cool. I'm listening, I'll pray about it, whatever, and going from there.
Yeah, cool. Anything you see future-wise? Do you think social media is just going to keep going It's going to
Yeah.
keep changing quicker. We're going to keep having to
100%.
keep up.
Yeah, I definitely think it's not going anywhere, if I'm honest. You know, it's going to continue to change and evolve, and young people are going to continue to change and evolve with it. And, you know, as leaders, we just have to be present, as you said, and just make sure we're checking in on, you know, what's going on and as it changes and evolves. But I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, which video content, you know, I don't get it, but I also think that's the way it's going forward. So especially video content, there's going to be so many young people saying, you know, I want to be a content creator and I want to do short form, long form video. And I think if we have people able to help and assist with that, that's going to be great.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just going to be exponential growth. Like, you have to remember, a large percentage of the world still doesn't have high-speed internet. A large percentage of the world is still just operating on like, oh, my data's going to run out. It's only in our parts of the world we're kind of like, oh, I've got unlimited data. So as that part of the world begins to catch up, and they're then beginning to, because you've got developers now in like parts of third world countries, and they're developing platforms, developing apps so much quicker. You got to remember, TikTok came from China. 30 years ago, China wasn't. Do you know what I mean? China wasn't what it is now. And I think you've got to remember, as technology's exponentially growing and things are changing, you've got NFTs and you've got the metaverse and all these different things that are coming around. Gen Z are going to be at the forefront of that, and then the next ones after Generation Alpha, as they're coming up, they're also going to be doing that. But from parts of the world that right now at this point in time, they're probably not developing these things. So what I'm going to start seeing, I think, is you're going to see these pockets of niche platforms that people are really into. And you're seeing this now within Gen Z, where they go, like back in the day when we were younger, if you liked World of Warcraft, you probably only had like 3 or 4 guys in your school that would play it. I'd walk in, there'd be 3 people playing it. They're kind of sweaty, they smell a little bit odd. And that was the World of Warcraft lot. And they kind of just did their thing, and they didn't really shout or scream about it. And it was really the footballers and whatever, they were the popular ones. But now you're seeing a shift where people go, actually, you know what, this is what I'm into. I don't care if you're not into it, because there's going to be a community online that are also really into this. I'm going to find them on Reddit, I'm going to find them on whatever. And I will find that community, and I'll just be a nerd with them. I don't need you to like it. I don't need my parents, I don't need my local friends to like it. Because I think it was yesterday, we're looking at a statistic, 56% of Gen Z have got friends online that they've never met in real life. Wow. So for them, it's like, actually, you know what? These are my friends. These are people that I respect and I live with. So what you're going to see is you're going to see a shift where more of these niche communities begin to rise up, where people just go, I love this. I don't care if you don't like it, and this is what I'm going to get involved in. So then it's going to be understanding, how do we deal with that? As leaders, how do we go, okay, cool, all these niche communities are popping up, I can't be on all of them, so then how do I track that? But for me, it's extremely exciting, because I just think it's exponential growth means more opportunity for everybody can get involved. We've just got to educate people to understand who they are of themselves, because then they won't go move mad on social media, because they know who they are themselves. I think the challenge is, a lot of time we look at the output, so we look at the social media and going, how can we sort that out, instead of going, actually, you know what, let's deal with what's going on with them, because then when they go on there, they're not gonna move mad, because they know who they are. But,
Exactly, 100%.
Great. And I think I love one of my main takeaways from this, because it scares me, the rate at which stuff is changing, how I feel like I'm way too old for it. I think asking questions, like you're both saying, it is, why you won this, what's so good about it. I think that's just the easiest way to start to understand, keep up. We don't have to learn TikTok videos. We just ask, what is it about it? So.
Exactly, 100%.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Jade. Thanks, Jade.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you for watching Young Leaders Lab session number 4. And if you want to find out anything else about us, not any more think, don't know what that even means, but check out the description in the bio, get in contact with us there. We'd love to keep in touch. Take care.